Hello, I'm Michel Belyk, and welcome to my poster on vocal attractiveness in homosexual and heterosexual listeners. We use the voice to communicate quite a lot. We speak, we sing, we express emotions, but there are also attributes of our voice that listeners will use to make judgments about us. And one of those is how attractive people find voices. Typically, this boils down to making judgments based on exaggerated sex-typical vocal traits. So, for example, males tend to be perceived as more attractive if they have low-pitched voices and large-sounding voices. However, this research is based largely on heterosexual listeners, with homosexual listeners usually excluded from studies, because of the possibility that their patterns of voice preferences might be different and confuse the issue. But to the extent that that could be true, that population actually should be very interesting for us to look at because we can learn something new from them. In order to assess this, we took recordings from a previous study that we've already published, in which speakers came into the lab, were recorded saying various carrier words, and had their voices either masculinized or feminized. We did this by synthesizing versions of their voices, and then come back into the lab, and then imitating those same recordings of their voices. And so both of these sets of stimuli were played to a pool of participants recruited via Prolific. And so these participants would hear recordings of speakers of the sex to which they are attracted, either at baseline, so with the participant's original voice, feminized by varying degrees, or masculinized by varying degrees. For both sets of stimuli, synthesized or imitated, we recruited 180 participants, half male, half female, half heterosexual, half homosexual. In each study, participants simply listened to voices and rated on a visual analog scale from 1 to 100, how attractive do you find each voice? We can quantify this by looking at the difference between the sort of extremes here. So on this plot, you're seeing on the x-axis degrees of voice modulation, with baseline at the middle, varying degrees of masculinized going to the left of the graph, and varying degrees of feminized going to the right of the graph. So if we take the estimated attractiveness at the right, this is when feminized, and the estimated attractiveness when masculinized on the left, we can get a gender bias. Here at the bottom, you can see the gender bias for male voices in blue, female voices in salmon, and for heterosexual listeners in circles and homosexual listeners in triangles. Heterosexual males seem to be the only group that are captured by whatever biological signal is present in the feminized female voice, potentially as a cue to mate quality. I have a lot more to say about these data, but I think I would encourage you to come find me at my poster if you'd like to discuss this further, or of course, you can write to me. Thank you.